Okay, I think. Yay, love technology. It is working. We
Right.
are
That's
live.
good.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Glad you could join us. Let me just turn the volume down on my other device so we're not making any feedback here. Great. All right, we are good to go. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, everyone. I am here today joined by Caron, who is a member of the Freedom from Migraine method. She's been a member for, what do we say, Caron, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah.
3 weeks now. And Caron is going to share with us her migraine journey. And she has actually had some phenomenal results in the last 3 weeks that I wanted to bring Caron on to share with you, because I think it is so important that we know, as people who have suffered with migraines or who are suffering with migraines, we know that there's hope. And the reason that's so important is because most of you have been dealing with migraines for decades, 10, 20, 30, 40 plus years. And you've been burnt so many times. You've tried the pills, you've tried the doctors, you've tried the chiropractors, you've done this laundry list of things to try to get rid of your migraines. And while you may have gotten some results here or there and felt a little bit better here and there, nothing has ever moved that needle for you. And because of that, it makes it hard to believe that there's actually something that can work. And I think it's so important when we find something that works really well for people and actually gets to the root cause of the issue, that we share that. So Caron has graciously joined us today to share her story. And Caron, you've been living with migraines for 40 years, is that correct?
40 years, yeah. I started when I was 14 and now 54. So yeah, 40 years.
Tell us just a little bit about that journey. I mean, starting at 14 had to be quite rough. What was that like?
Yeah, it was really rough. It was really rough. I always thought it started around the time I started my menstrual cycle.
Mhm.
But basically, I kept migraine diaries and all of that to see if it followed my cycle, as the doctors requested, but it never really seemed to follow a pattern. So that stumped them a little bit. And as I say, they just carried on. And, I went to neurologists, I went to endocrinologists. I've seen homeopaths, acupuncturists, chiropractors, osteopaths.
Oh my
I've
goodness.
actually, over 40 years, I've thrown tens of thousands of pounds at it. And nobody seemed to be able to find the root cause. They just said they're tension headaches, but I knew in my heart that wasn't right. And I was just taking packets and packets of tablets. I wouldn't go anywhere without tablets in my bag. And it took away a lot of pleasure in my life. It ruined a lot of good times. It's been difficult having a family. I've got 3 children. It was difficult, particularly when they were younger and less independent. Obviously, have less patience, less tolerance. So it spoilt a lot of family time as well. So, it's been tough. It's been very tough, and it's very difficult to explain to people what it feels like to be in pain all the time, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, since this started at 14, do you remember a life without migraines?
No. No. No.
I asked that question to so many people, what would you like your life to be like if you didn't have migraines? And the answer I typically get is, I don't know. I don't remember one.
Yeah. No. I don't. I really don't remember. No.
Yeah. So your husband doesn't even know you. Well,
No.
except for the last couple of weeks, but your husband doesn't know
Yeah.
you without
And I'm a
migraines.
much nicer person. Yeah.
Oh, before we go to the
Yeah.
next question, I just wanted to pop down and take a look. It looks like we have some people listening today. So we've got Kathy on, and Melanie, and Bridget, and Suzanne. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the chat at the same time. So if you see me looking
Okay.
down, that's why. But if you guys have any questions while we're talking, feel free to pop them in the chat, and I'll make sure that I take a look back at that before we end. So Caron, what do you think over the years, what has been your biggest challenge with migraines? What has been the thing that has just really, given you the most struggle because of them?
Um, as I said, I think dealing with the children, obviously, you know, before I had children, you know, you want to be the best mum you can be.
Mhm.
But when you're in pain, you obviously don't have that patience and tolerance a lot of time with them, or, you know, sometimes I just didn't want to sort of play with them or couldn't concentrate and help them with homework. So yeah, family time, I think, has been really disrupted by the migraines, and family holidays, you know, also, you know, everything to do with the family, really, I think. Obviously work as well, you know, you just can't give, you can't give 100% to anything, can you, because you're in pain. And
No.
I think, you know, even, I suppose, every aspect of my life socially, everything
Mhm.
has, you know, has been tinged because I've been dealing with the pain. I mean, I don't get the aura.
Mhm.
I get, you know, obviously the migraine, and it has been diagnosed as migraine. So we've got a migraine clinic in London. I've actually been diagnosed there, but I get a lot of pain in my neck and shoulders as well as the headaches, and I'm very, very sensitive to light. So yeah, it's just that horrible throbbing pain, and I've relied on tablets basically. I have taken all sorts of tablets over the years, but the one tablet that seemed to work for me was zolmitriptan, which
Okay.
is Zomig. I don't know what you call it in the US, Zomig. And you know, I could take that, and within an hour I knew the headache would go. I
Mhm.
wouldn't feel myself, I'd feel quite groggy, so I wouldn't really still be enjoying myself properly, but I knew the headache would go. But in recent years, that's not even working properly either. So, you know, it's been more difficult recently because I can't find anything that works.
Yeah, I would say we have almost 700 women in this group now, and I would say probably a good 80% of them have taken a triptan or on a
Mhm.
triptan. The big one in the US is Imitrex, but there are
Oh,
many. There
right,
are many,
okay, yeah,
many
yeah.
different versions, and they're kind of like a double-edged sword, aren't they? Because they're like this miracle drug that when you first take them, they get rid of that pain for you. You know,
Mhm.
they actually give you some relief, especially for those people who are dealing with like debilitating migraines every day. You're just so willing to take anything and do anything to stop it. But the problem with the triptan is they are the top on the rebound list.
Yeah.
They're the medication that will, after time, even if you only take it once a week, you know, once every other week, they actually build up in your system. They build up that chemical load, and they cause those rebound headaches, which is why so many people to this day can't get rid of their headaches. So,
Mhm. Well, I think I was having pretty much for as long as I can remember, I've had some kind of headache every single day.
mm-hmm.
But the big, what I call the big headaches, when I had to resort to zolmitriptan, was probably about 15 times a month.
Yeah.
10 to 15 tablets a month, and we can get that many in the UK. I can get hold of that many tablets, but you know, that's not good though. You know,
No,
to be
no.
taking that many. Yeah.
Yeah, in the US, we're restricted to 9 unless you
Right.
can
Hmm.
actually really fight the insurance company to get more than that. But when you read the warning labels, you know, you realize you really don't want more
No,
than
you
that.
shouldn't be taking that many. No,
The
no.
damage they can do to your kidneys and your liver. But
Hmm.
so when was the last time that you took medication for your migraines?
3 weeks ago. So on top of the zolmitriptan, if I didn't have a big headache, if it, you know, because as I say, I've had some kind of headache every day, I would take
Yeah.
aspirin, which was diagnosed by the migraine clinic in London.
Mhm.
But I was also taking, in the evening, I was taking 10 milligrams of nortriptyline, which they told me would relax my neck muscles,
Mhm.
to help me not wake up with a headache in the morning. So I was often waking up with headaches. And I've stopped taking that as well. So
That's
completely
phenomenal.
medication free for three weeks now. Yeah.
That is phenomenal.
I can't even remember the last time that happened. Seriously. Yeah. Yeah.
So we know that something has changed in 3
Hmm.
weeks. We know
Yeah.
you've done something. So tell us, what are you doing different now than you were doing
Um,
before?
well, as I say, I'm only in unit 2, but I'd sort of listened to various things you'd put on Facebook, so I knew other things that are going to come up later.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
suppose I've been putting those into place, as well as the two units that you talked about. So firstly, I think my son was diagnosed with celiac, so I'd started to come off gluten anyway, because I thought, well, I'll try that. But obviously,
Mhm.
you mentioned that, so I've been completely gluten free. I would say I'm about 80% dairy free as well.
Okay.
I've changed all my what I call, I suppose, beauty products, not makeup at the moment, because obviously it's so costly to change everything, but I've
Yes.
changed all my sort of moisturizers, cleansers, deodorant, perfume. Everything is completely natural and chemical free, and pretty much all of my household products as well. So washing up liquid, dishwasher tablets, you
Mhm.
know, liquid for the washing machine, all of those kind of things, has all gone chemical free as well. And I don't know, something inside me says that's actually made quite a big difference. I don't know why, but I just feel that it has made a difference. And also, this is going to sound a bit weird, but having those natural products, they smell so nice. So I feel actually like I'm treating myself in the morning. I think, oh, I'm actually going to a spa because it's that. So I think that's sort of that positivity as well, obviously changes your
Yes,
mindset, doesn't it? That's been actually
absolutely.
quite nice. Yeah,
That
it's
is
been
that
a
is a
big bonus.
huge, yep, that is a huge part of
Mm.
it. And that's actually, you mentioned units. So the Freedom from Migraine method, for those who aren't in the program, it's actually broken down into 11 different modules that kind of touch on different areas that work on reducing the inflammation in your body. And one of the units that we work on, that obviously Caron has kind of skipped ahead and done a little extra work on, is a unit that we deal with chemicals. And chemicals can be something that really pushes you over that threshold. And, that may be the case for Caron. It may not be the case for somebody else, but maybe, there were enough products in your life that, just by reducing those, you've increased your threshold space, which is what we want, and you're living way below it. And one of the other things within that threshold that we work on is mindset, is stress, is, our attitude. So I love how you said that that chemical smell makes you happy. So by reducing the chemicals, and bringing in natural scents, I
Natural
should say,
smells, yeah.
the natural smells, they're, releasing endorphins in you, and
Hmm.
they're endorphins that are actually reducing inflammation at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it feels
So
like a treat. It's actually quite
absolutely.
nice. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is wonderful.
Hmm.
So just within a 3-week time span, how different do you feel?
Well, I absolutely cannot believe it. I feel like a different person, and no lie whatsoever. I didn't expect to feel like this, and I haven't felt like this for, well, as long as I can remember, but I do feel like completely different.
Yeah.
Completely
And
different. And I've got loads more energy as well, which is great. So it's not just been headache free. I do feel like I've got a lot more energy, and a lot more, I feel just a lot more optimistic as well, a lot more positive, just because I suppose being pain free and
mhm,
feeling like you're achieving and, making steps forward, I do feel a lot more positive. And I suppose the whole thing, it's like a snowball effect, isn't it?
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And your results are different than, the other people that are in the program. Everyone has different
Yeah,
results.
yeah.
Everyone has different levels of, ups and downs and back and forth. But these results are definitely possible. And the
Hmm.
way that we do the program is we focus on specific things in the beginning and work down in process, because we want to give you those wins fast, for the reason that you just said. We need to reduce that pain,
Hmm.
because if we don't reduce the pain, you're not going to be able to continue working on the program. You
Yeah.
know what it's like living a daily life with kids, husband, school, work, trying to function when you have those migraines. Well, think about trying to do a program on top of it when you have
Yeah.
that pain every day. So the program is designed specifically to give you those fast wins, which you're obviously getting, and it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah.
Because you were very honest with me, you're not feeling migraines, but you're still feeling a little discomfort. Describe that to us.
Yeah, I'm still getting, I sort of get pain sort of at the bottom of my skull here, top of my neck, and into my shoulders. And I did get those when I had the headaches.
Hmm.
Normally, then that would develop into a headache, and it's not. So whether that is part and parcel of the same issue, or whether that's something completely different, I don't know. I don't know. So I just thought, well, I'll do the whole program, see what happens. If I still I've got those, I might go and see a masseur or something. You know what I mean? Just to see if it is something different. But that's bearable. I can deal with that. I can deal with it. It's the pain in the head I can't deal with. But
Right.
this is bearable. Yeah.
Yeah. And most people, your situation could be a little different, but most people that I talk to, that pain is typically normal in a
Right.
migraine.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's usually is the last thing to go.
Right.
So, that's kind of your little warning signal. It's your body warning you that, okay, you're kind of close to where that migraine is, but obviously the things that you've done are keeping you, like I said, below that
Yeah.
threshold and keeping that migraine at bay. And that's only going to get better as we go forward in time.
Yeah. The one thing actually I forgot to say, which I think has made a big difference as well, is the salt water. Yeah, which I'd have never thought of drinking salt water, and I have resorted to that quite a lot. And I think that's made a difference as well. When I've felt like the pain in my neck and shoulders, I've had the salt water, and whether that's kept it at bay, as I say, I've tried lots of different things. So I'm not quite
Yep.
sure if it's one thing working or the combination, but something's working, so that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just so I'll explain it to everyone who's watching, what Karen's talking about is when you start feeling that little niggle, that feel like a migraine's coming on, what you want to do is you want to get a glass of water and put a pinch of salt in it. I recommend sea salt if you have it, but right now just use whatever salt you have and then just drink that down. We need to get the electrolytes back in your body, and we don't want to use things like Gatorade. You can use coconut water in place of that if you prefer to, but the reason that I don't typically recommend it in the program is I'm not sure the way it is in the UK, but in the US, coconut water, it can almost be like soda, where some are really good and some are really
Right.
bad. Some are
Probably the
full of
same.
sugar, full of a lot of extra things in there. So, and you don't want to have to worry about stocking one more thing or buying one more thing. Water we all have, salt we typically all have. So you just grab that. And I know that there's someone else in the Freedom from Migraine method who actually keeps a picture of it in her fridge and just stirs it up. And at this point, is still drinking it on a daily basis, but is noticing some dramatic results in the program as well. And probably can be getting close to, reducing that amount that she's drinking. But a pinch is not, for those who start to ask me, a pinch is not going to raise your blood pressure. You don't have to worry about that. A pinch isn't going to hurt your health in any way, shape, or form. It's really helping you bring your body back into balance. And for people who suffer with migraines, we tend to have a little bit more of that electrolyte imbalance for some particular reasons. So this is why it is so helpful. And I'm glad it's making a big difference for you there, which is phenomenal. Let me just double check our comments here before we go on. I think everyone's just wishing you well. Looks like Suzanne's got the same neck pain,
Thank
shoulder
you.
pain. Yes, that is super, super common. Yes, everyone is very happy for you. Happy that you're having some
Thank
results.
you.
Yes, and you're very happy for you too.
Oh yeah, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. As I think I said to you before, some of the things have been mentioned before, like the migraine clinic in London mentioned the threshold, but they mentioned it in relation to, coffee, cheese, red wine, all those kind of triggers, the well-known triggers. And I had been told by a doctor in the past as a passing comment that I've got inflammation in my body, but nothing more was said about it. So I didn't really think anything of it. And I just think with the program that you're offering, everything just seems to have fallen into place like a jigsaw, and to have that sort of structure and some guidance through it has been really, really helpful, because before it was obviously out there, I'd got all these signals,
Right.
but it was almost too much to see the wood for the trees. Do you know what I mean? So the programs, put it in a sort of some kind of order, and I think that's been really, really beneficial to me.
Well, I'm glad it has, and I found the same thing when it's almost 20 years now since I've, was suffering with migraines. But during that time, it always seemed like I knew the pieces. Like I knew I needed to change a little bit of my diet. I knew I needed to fix my sleep a little, fix my exercise a little, deal with stress a little, clean up my household a little, but I never knew how much to do of each, what I needed to do, how I needed to do it. in what order I needed to do it in. And until I actually enlisted the help of someone we sat down together and came up with this plan and, process for myself. We all know what to do. It's just, it is hard to put it together,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
When you have,
definitely.
and Dr. Google throwing, all this new information at you every time you go online and search something. And it's like, oh, okay, now is it keto, or now what are we
Yeah.
doing today?
Yeah.
And it is a little different for everyone. So,
Mhm.
to be able to look at a program and then tailor it for your needs, I think is what, works really well for most people. Because
Yeah,
I can give you a blanket program, but then you need to make it fit into your lifestyle. You need to make it sustainable. And obviously, the last 3 weeks, you've done that quite well.
mhm.
Which we're so happy that you're finally finding some time after 40 years of
Yeah.
feeling like yourself again. Now you're going to know what
Yeah,
you feel like.
absolutely. Yeah, I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a few months, I can actually say, okay, this is the new Karen. Tell me about the new Karen.
Yeah.
So if I were to ask you, what would you tell a person who is on the fence about joining this program? What would be your best advice to them?
Um, that there's hope, definitely. I think, I've gone round in circles for so many years thinking there's nothing out there that's going to help me, but obviously there is. And if I'm honest, when I spoke to you and I had that free chat with you, I
Mhm.
was sort of on the fence. I was like, shall I, shan't I? Is this really going to work? Am I going to pay for this and it's not going to work? So yeah, I did have doubts, but obviously I have had really good results. And I'd just say anybody that's in pain to stay hopeful, because I think, there is a way.
Absolutely. I think that's the best piece of advice, even if everyone watching today, decides this program is not for them, just to keep that hope. That hope is so important,
Absolutely, yeah. Hmm.
because I listen to so many women who are just, they've been run down. They're just discouraged. They think that this is the way they have to live. And because of that, they're looking for the next best medication cocktail. What pieces can we put together? What meds do I have to take for life? Or they just want tips on how to live through a migraine. Tell me how I can
Yes.
just survive through them, because they're not going to go away. And I can throw out all the tips there are, but we know what it's like. We don't live through migraines. We function through them, right? We
Hmm.
we go through the motions, but we're not actually living. So to know that there is a way to get to that result that you're looking for, it's huge. After
Yeah.
40 years, knowing that you can have some days of relief, you can reduce that severity, the duration, and the frequency. um, it's nice that you can share that with people so they know that there is some
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, no, it has really been fantastic. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let me just double check our questions here, make sure I don't have anything else. Let's see, we've got a whole bunch of people on today, which is wonderful. I'm so glad that you guys could join us during the day. If anybody on here is in the US and has voted today, let me know you got your vote in. We all need to vote. I don't care who you vote for, get out there and vote. Just do it. We all need our voices to be heard. I admit I did it through absentee ballot last week, but I took it to the voting place. I dropped it off myself with my daughter, and it was a great feeling to know that we were able to do that. But all right, I don't see any questions there. Karen, is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to leave us with, or anything else you feel that you'd like to share with the group today?
Um, no, not really. As I say, I think the biggest thing is the hope, isn't it? And I think even if they don't join the program and they do it by themselves, stay hopeful. But I do think it is, you've got to change your lifestyle. That's the big thing. It's not like a quick fix. You have got to change your lifestyle, and you've got to be quite dedicated to do that. And sometimes it's a slow process. It is quite costly to change all the
Mhm.
products and everything. So it might be a very slow process, but it is. I think it is actually, you've got to change the lifestyle fundamentally. And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think we definitely live in a society where we want things quick, we want them
Hmm.
fast, and that's why we tend to gravitate towards the pills, the medications, the any other things we try, like acupuncture and chiropractics. They're all wonderful. Like, I love acupuncture and chiropractics and Reiki and all that. but they're definitely not getting to the root cause of the problem.
Yeah.
They're like that Band-Aid of trying to cover up our pain for a little while. But what we really should be doing is going to them while we're working on that root cause.
Yeah.
So they're helping us reduce our pain so that we can get to the bottom of what we need to. And that's the same with medication. Like if anyone out there needs to take medication while they're working on their migraine freedom, you know, that's okay to a point. And then there's going to be a point where you probably have to stop it because of rebound, but we don't want to be in pain. You know, I think one of the big things that we do work on in this program is we try to reduce the pain as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And then each step that you make, we try to make sure that the pain isn't going to flare up again while we make some lifestyle changes, and that we do it, like you said, in a slow and steady way at everyone's pace, and make it so that it doesn't have to cost an absolute fortune to do. You know, like you don't have to change your whole beauty care, you know, or toiletries in a day. You know, it can be done over time. And I know when I did it, it was okay. I went through, figured out everything that was bad, put an X on it. And then when that thing was gone, I replaced it with something good.
Yeah, that's similar to what I've been doing.
Yeah, because it's overwhelming and hard if you try to change the world at one time, and to try to change it alone, you know, which is the other great thing about the Freedom from Migraine method and having the group of women that you can talk to in the private Facebook group. So you guys can share tips back and forth on how you did things and, you know, what works and what doesn't work. But both groups are awesome. We have amazing women here. I am so thankful for everybody that showed up today. Lisa voted. Yes. Look at all these voted. I definitely brought something up here. Oh, wait, we have a couple questions.
Okay.
How much should one drink in a day? I'm assuming we're talking about water here, Sarah. So what we recommend in the Freedom from Migraine method is that you take your body weight, you divide that by 2, and that's how many ounces of water you should be drinking. So I obviously use pounds, being that I live in the US. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you divide that by 2, it's 50. You should be drinking 50 ounces of water in a day. And if you're asking about how much you should drink, if you're adding salt to it, that really depends on how severe your migraine is, what kind of pain you're feeling. You know, if it's a migraine or niggling pain that just doesn't want to go away all day, there's no reason why each glass of water that you drink can't have a pinch of salt in it. So, you know, like I said, that's not going to hurt you. You don't want to put so much salt in where it tastes horrible. You're just looking for a pinch, just enough to get that little bit of salt in there. So Bridget is asking, did you stop gluten in the last 3 weeks? So Caron, when did you stop gluten?
Probably, I would say gluten's probably started to take it out of my diet, but not completely, probably about 2 months. So probably about 8 weeks, but it's the last 3 weeks that I've stopped it completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So before that you were just doing little bits here,
just reducing it. Yeah. Just sort of playing around really. But the last 3 weeks I've had no gluten at all.
Okay. Yeah. Gluten is definitely one that takes some patience to get rid of. You know, as you know, having someone with celiac in the household, you're much more careful versus someone who's just getting rid of it to get rid of it. But gluten is in everything. It really shows up everywhere. But when I talk about gluten, especially for somebody, excuse me, with celiac disease, it's like being pregnant. You can't be a little pregnant and you can't be a little gluten-free. So you either have to do all or nothing. And the reason for that is because when we have a gut that's in dysfunction and we eat gluten, it actually can take months for our gut to repair from a tiny bit of gluten. So you can have one piece of pizza and still be feeling the results from it a month later. Now, if it's someone whose gut is extremely healthy, which typically is not someone who's suffering from migraines, because gut health and migraines typically go hand in hand. But if you're someone who's super healthy, your gut can repair itself in a day to 2 days, which is why a lot of people can eat gluten and not have an issue, because they're actually damaging their gut, but repairing it very quickly. So I hope that kind of answers that question as far as the gluten goes. Let's see. I think everybody else is just talking about voting, which is awesome. Good for you. And for those of you who haven't voted, if you live in the US, get out and vote today. All right. Well, Caron, I cannot thank you enough for coming on today and talking to everyone. I really appreciate it. And, you know, in a couple months, maybe we can Yeah, I'm sure it does. And if anyone is watching this on the replay, please feel free to tag myself, or is it okay if they tag you in the replay if
Yeah,
they have a
of course. Yeah,
question?
yeah, of course.
Okay. So feel free to tag us so we can see that. And maybe in a month or so, we can have you back on and you can let us know where you're at in the program and how you're
Hopefully,
doing.
I'll be feeling even better.
Absolutely. We'll get rid of a little of that neck
Yeah.
pain there and
Yeah.
get you all set and ready to go for the holidays, right?
Yeah, hope so. Hope so. Yeah, we've got to get through lockdown before that.
I know. I know. Do you guys have a deadline for lockdown, or is it just a
We start on
indefinite?
Thursday, so yeah, starts this Thursday and then the 2nd of December. But
Okay.
there's rumours it might last longer, but the official date at the moment is the 2nd of December.
Okay. Well, we in the US will be keeping our fingers crossed for you that everyone behaves, that
Thank
your
you.
numbers go
Yeah.
down, and that the holidays, can progress without too much
Yeah.
hassle there.
Fingers
Because I
crossed.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Caron. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. And thank you everyone for joining in. And we will talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you in the group.
Okay. Thanks then. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.